President Trump addressing a joint session of Congress last night, the first address of his second term to a very divided Congress. He touched on topics ranging from federal workers to tariffs and taxes. Philadelphia Inquirer opinion writer Dan Pearson joins us now in the studio to break down the president's address. Dan, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I know it was a long night.
Yes.
Started at 9 p.m. our time,
Yes.
and it was 2 hours long. I mean, the longest session from a president that we've seen. And so we wanted to start with what we thought the overarching theme of this was. What was the most important?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the theme was that the Republican Party is in control and the base is running the show. It was a lot of red meat for Republican voters and Trump's base. There wasn't a lot in the speech for people who didn't vote for Trump. And he's very clear that he's going to pursue his agenda and that there's nobody in D.C. right now who is capable of stopping him.
And so we want to listen to some of the clips from last night's address. As we mentioned, we know that there was a lot. There was a lot of things happening. And so the president addressed Americans directly about tariffs, asking us to bear with him. Let's listen.
Maybe a little bit of an adjustment period. We had that before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases. And I said, just bear with me. And they did. They did. Probably have to bear with me.
And so how much patience are we talking?
It's going to be a tough sell for a lot of people. A lot of people voted for President Trump because they wanted cheaper prices. They thought the price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing had risen too much. These tariffs are going to increase prices. His promise is that maybe down the line we'll have cheaper prices and a stronger economy, but that could be 5, 10 years, it could be never. And in the interim, people are going to be upset when if you want to buy a new truck, it costs another $20,000. If you want to buy a new sedan, it costs another $3,000. Without Canadian gas, who knows how much it's going to cost at the pump, these things are going to get people upset a long time before you see any positives from any tariffs.
Now, another thing he talked about was taxes and holding the line. We want to take a listen to that.
Seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board, and to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation. I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
So what's the bottom line here? Can he keep this promise?
It's going to be really tough. We are in a big budget deficit right now. We have a long-term structural debt. If we cut taxes, that's obviously going to mean less revenue to pay our bills. On top of that, politically, it's going to be tough because around half of the American households don't currently pay income tax to the federal government. Might pay Social Security tax and Medicare tax, but at the end of the day, you're getting a refund for almost everything that was taken out. So a lot of people are not going to see a benefit from this, and they are going to be seeing the cost of higher tariffs at the same time.
Another big topic making lots of headlines, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. President Trump framed it this way. Let's take a listen.
We will restore true democracy to America again. And any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
So draining the swamp, that was actually a theme in the president's first term. But what do we think that looks like now? What does that mean for federal workers here in our area?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw yesterday a list of federal buildings in this city that are slated to be sold. The Social Security Administration building, the U.S. Mint building, and a lot of other important, government buildings are on that list. We have a lot of federal workers here in Philadelphia. If you own a business in Center City or near any of these buildings, you might be really reliant on them for your lunch crowd and things like that. And I did think it was interesting that he referred to unelected bureaucrats when he has put in Elon Musk, who no one has voted for, in charge of this whole process. He's also not confirmed by the Senate, or gone through the normal nomination process, and he's also running his own companies at the same time. So, I think we might be replacing the swamp with a different swamp.
Okay, interesting. And if people want to hear more from you, they want to read your work, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter or Blue Sky
Okay.
at D Pearson PHL.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us this morning
for having
and
me.
breaking it all down for us. All right.